In some ways, Khamzat Chimaev had an absolutely horrible fight week. He gets into it with Paulo Costa at the UFC PI. He gets into it with Kevin Holland at the press conference. Then he comes in on the day of the weigh-ins. Main event pay-per-view spot. And he's 8 pounds overweight. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. I know he said in the post-fight press conference that he wasn't that much overweight. The doctor made him drink some water before he actually jumped on the scale again. Then it got recorded as 8 pounds. Whatever. The man missed weight by a ridiculous amount for what would have been the biggest fight of his life. Man, that is a lot of losses to take in a short period of time. But one thing leads to another. Kevin Holland steps up to the plate, accepts the fight, and we get these two in the co-main event. Now, a lot of people probably looked at this fight and quickly thought, man, this is going to be some real trouble for Kevin Holland. We know that wrestling is a weak point for him, and we know that Khamzat Chimaev is an absolute beast of a wrestler. So from Kevin Holland's perspective, not exactly the best matchup. He even mentioned it in a pre-fight interview with Megan O'Leary. He said his family wasn't exactly too happy about him taking this fight because of how weak his wrestling was, but that he was getting paid by the UFC to take it. They just came over, they dropped the bag off to him, said, hey, we need you to step up and take this one. He accepted the fight and the show goes on. But let me tell you, it did not go on for long. As soon as that bell rang, we saw Khamzat Chimaev do what Khamzat Chimaev does. Man, he gets in there. He gets in deep on Kevin Holland's legs. He scores the takedowns. And he just continues to dominate. You know, Holland's attempting to defend. He's forcing some scrambles. He's trying to get some space. Gets back to his feet for a second here and there. But at the end of the day, the amount of control that Chimaev showed in so many different positions is so impressive. He's able to stay with Holland. He's able to consistently maintain a dominant position through all of the different movement. Eventually, he's able to get to a Darce choke. And even though Holland is consistently attempting to clear those legs, he's trying to clear his hips. The man is a black belt under Travis Lutter. Make no mistake about it. Kevin Holland is no joke when it comes to the ground. We've seen him get dominated in the wrestling department, but let's not forget that he was originally competing at a bigger weight class. But when we're talking about straight jiu-jitsu, the man's a black belt. He's credentialed. He knows exactly what he's doing in these positions. And he still went out there and got completely dominated. That's the level of skill that we see from Chimaev. He goes out there and he takes people who are very good fighters and he runs through them. He makes it look easy. He goes 100 miles an hour from the start because he's not even concerned with pacing himself for a 5-round fight. He wasn't worried about what was coming back to him. DC mentioned it in the post-fight. When the only reason you go out there and completely blow the gas tank in a situation like that is because you're not worried about what that other guy's got for you. Man, that is impressive when you think about what he's bringing to the table. Nobody's been able to go out there and do anything even remotely close to that to Kevin Holland. So after we see something like that, the big question is, what do we got next for Chimaev? What's going to be next for Khamzat? I guess first, where's he going to compete at? Is it going to be at 170 pounds? Is it going to be at 185? I mean, he missed this weight cut by a ridiculous amount. Now, is it because he's not doing things correctly? The rumors were that he already had a nasty weight cut for Gilbert Burns. Now he comes in, he misses this one by a significant amount. If you're Dana White, what kind of a position are you put in? If Chimaev goes out there and hires some of these best of the best teams and these best of the best pros when it comes to weight cutting, is he going to be able to get this under control? Because we've seen that from guys in the past. We've seen that they were using outdated methods. They were trying to be tough guys about it. They weren't able to get the job done. If Chimaev goes out there and hires a professional, is he going to be able to consistently make 170 pounds? Or is he just too big? Is he just going to be unable to make the weight no matter what goes on? And for him to continue to compete, he's going to have to move up to 185. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure right now what the next move is going to be. All I can feel 100% comfortable saying is that 170, 185, the man's going to be a problem for anybody he faces at both of those weight classes. He's bringing some real heat to the table. His wrestling is incredibly dominant. And let me say one other thing. One of the things that you can see when he steps in there against guys is that his intensity level is through the roof. And when you're facing somebody who's got an intensity level who's that high, you have to match it. You have to go in there and match that intensity level or you're going to get steamrolled. Now, I would make the argument that there's only one person who matched the intensity level of Chimaev so far. That was Gilbert Burns. And we saw what happened there. But everybody else, it's like they go in there and they're not quite at that level that he is, and he just brings the heat, and he's just able to make them melt away. So look, after this fight, I find myself in the exact same position as that last fight. I can't wait to see what's next. Chimaev goes out there and he just shows up in dominating fashion. And I get that it was incredibly unprofessional what happened with the weight cut. I get that. And I hope that we never see anything like that again from him. But I absolutely want to see the man fight again. I'm fascinated by him. 185, 170, doesn't matter. I'm tuning in. The competition continues to get better, and I just want to see what he's gonna do next, who it's gonna be against, what they're gonna bring to the table, who's eventually going to be able to figure him out, whenever that's gonna be. I'm here for it. So let me know what you guys think. Am I giving him a little bit too much credit? As he steps up his level of competition, are guys gonna be able to answer it? I mean, if we're talking about 185, we're thinking about guys like Robert Whitaker. We've seen what he's been able to do. Israel Adesanya, we've seen what he's been able to do. Are we thinking that Khamzat, I mean, I know that he talks about all this stuff, that he's going to be able to go out there and dominate everybody and stuff, but we can't always believe what a fighter says. Of course, he believes in himself, but of course, a certain part of that is marketing. Is he really going to be able to go out there and do something like those guys? Man, that would be ridiculous. When we're talking about down at 170, is he going to be able to continue to do that all the way through and turn around and snatch up the belt? I don't know. If he does, it'll be quite an impressive run. But let me know what you guys think.